Hello, Lisa here. Welcome to Walking the Self-Worth Path, a series where I share with you my favorite tarot and witchy tools, techniques, and rituals to support your journey to an empowered life. Hello, I cannot believe that we are on the final episode of Walking the Self-Worth Path. Wow, what a journey. I have never before so carefully planned an entire year of content for my channel. If you are just now seeing this video, I definitely encourage you to check out the playlist. In the full series of Walking the Self-Worth Path, I made videos to correspond with every single chapter in my book, The Self-Worth Path, A Guided Journey to an Empowered Life. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I launched this book a year ago. It's incredible to me. I never even thought this book would come to be, let alone that it would be out in the world for a year. And anyways, I'm a little bit all over the place, but thank you for watching and coming along with me on the journey. I hope that this playlist of Walking the Self-Worth Path stays useful for some time to come. It will always be here on my channel as a way for people who are just discovering the book to have a little guidance alongside it. My goal with this video series was to offer content that had a slightly witchy bent, a tarot bent, because those are big parts of my personal path and a big part of what we do here on this channel. But at its core, the Self-Worth Path and the video content I created is really designed for anybody. It's designed for anybody who just wants a little helping hand to finding and discovering and embodying their own self-worth. So whether you're finding this at the very, very end and have all of those videos to go back through, or whether you've been with me the entire way or anything in between, just thank you. I appreciate you so, so much. Today, I am going to be focusing on wrapping up this series by sharing with you a couple of resources that I think would be really great jumping off points from this series and from your work with the Self-Worth Path. Now, along with the books that I'm going to be talking about with you today, I definitely encourage you to go back through the videos to all of the videos that are titled Decks and Books for, and you'll see that there is a deck and book video for every section of the Self-Worth Path. So you'll see decks and books for body acceptance, for self-care, for self-awareness, accountability, and integration. So there's 5 other videos with recommended books that are all great jumping off points from working with this one. But today I wanted to highlight 2 specifically, so I'm going to be turning the camera around and sharing both of those with you. But before I do, I am going to be giving away 3 copies of the Self-Worth Path, and this giveaway is going to be open internationally. Please keep in mind that I have no control over VAT, duties, customs, any of those kinds of things. So please keep in mind that sometimes, even when marked as a gift, those things can arrive with those extra charges. So please enter mindfully. But if you would like to enter this giveaway, just like this video, make sure you're subscribed, and just leave a comment down below about what most intrigues you about working with the Self-Worth Path, and I will definitely make sure to get that giveaway entered. I will draw a winner as soon as I can. I usually close entries for giveaways about a week after I announce them. So whatever date this video goes live, about a week later will be the cutoff date. So make sure you get your comment in ASAP so that it can be counted towards the draw. But with that said, I just wanted to say thank you so much. Now let's get the camera turned around so I can show you these recommended resources. So there are 2 books I mentioned I wanted to share with you guys. The first of these that I think could be really great as a jumping off point with a particular witchy flair from the work that we've been doing on the Self-Worth Path is this book called Witchcraft Therapy, Your Guide to Banishing Bullshit and Invoking Your Inner Power by Mundy M. This came across my awareness. I guess I became aware of it somewhat randomly, but this is fantastic. It takes a very plain speak, sort of modern approach to the kind of magic you might want to do if you are working on your self-worth path. So there are several chapters. I think there's only 3. No, there's 6 chapters in the book. You have Vibe Check Your Mindset. So this whole section is really about sort of calibrating how you approach your specific mindset, right? So there's a lot of things that we've covered in the Self-Worth Path, but these are addressed more magically. So everything from ridding yourself of stank ass energy to unleashing your unique possibilities and stop shit talking yourself. I love it so much. So as an example, let's take a look at page 50, Stop Shit Talking Yourself, to get a feel for this particular chapter, or yeah. So here you have a little bit about how words are spells. I completely agree. And this is talking about how negative self-talk can basically sort of create an environment where you're inviting that sort of energy into your life. And there's then a honey-tongued spell, which of course would be about sweetening your self-talk. I think that's awesome. And that is that section. So then you have a section on conjuring confidence. So worship at the feet of the self, learn to love your body, recognize you're resilient AF, visualize your potential, and all of these have spells that go along with them. So for example, to learn to love your body on page 74, you have making peace with your meat suit, and then a bath spell. So this is talking about filling your bathtub up with warm water, lighting candles, looking in the mirror, and letting that experience take hold. There are a lot of rituals and spells in here that are similar to the kind of rituals that we did throughout the Self-Worth Path, which is one of the reasons I feel like you guys would really enjoy and benefit from this book. Then we have summoning calm. So this is really about literally being able to relax a bit. And then we have make mental health magic, light a fire under your own ass, cast clarity, cut cords with your former self. So much great stuff in here. Cast relational sorcery. So this is really about the patterns between you and other people. Again, a lot of the same work we were doing on the Self-Worth Path, but put into this very specifically magical context. And enchanting your life. So creating a bucket list, attracting prosperity, use the magic of rut busting. Fantastic. It's not an expensive book. It's a really nice little hardbound, and this is put out by Simon & Schuster, but it was only, let's see what the cover price is here, $15.99 US or $21.99 Canadian. I don't know what that translates to in the UK, but if you can get it from Amazon, I think this is probably well worth having, especially if you could put this in like your self-care toolkit or something to reach for when you're really struggling. This could be a great little boost for your practice. And this one I have been actually eager to talk about for a little while, but this is the perfect point. So at around the same time that I keep wanting to call it Walking the Self-Worth Path, my own book title, because this is the name of the series, but around the same time that I launched my book, The Self-Worth Path, Andy Matzner, who is the author of a book called Journaling the Tarot, which is literally a book of just journal prompts for every single tarot card. You may actually recognize that name, Journaling the Tarot, because I referred to it regularly throughout my tarot memoirs series, specifically sharing a few prompts from that book throughout the series when we were doing the major arcana. If you haven't seen Tarot Memoirs, it was the very first long-running series I ever did on this channel, and it was basically walking through every single card of the tarot and relating it to my personal life and sort of sharing how I see those energies. Anyway, Andy Matzner, who was the author of Journaling the Tarot, also created a book. This book, by the way, is massive, so I may have to adjust my view, but this is called Tarot for Transformation. Now, just like the Self-Worth Path was fashioned after the major arcana, Tarot for Transformation is a book that is very much based on self-worth and self-care that is fashioned around the major arcana. Now, this is a workbook, and it is a beast. Like, this thing is huge. You can see, as an example, here is the Self-Worth Path, and here is Tarot for Transformation. So this is big, but if you want to get into something hefty following your work with the Self-Worth Path and sort of add that layer of tarot more obviously to that work, you might really enjoy this book. So let's take a look at the contents. So he does specifically list the tarot's major arcana as well as the theme of every single chapter. I have taken a quick peek at this book to make sure that I didn't spot anything that I was completely at odds with, particularly around food and eating, because I feel like a lot of books like this tend to not handle that in a way that I'm personally very fond of, but I really did appreciate Andy Matzner's approach in this book. It is very much around intuitive eating, non-restriction, and learning how to feel your hunger and fullness signals, very much the way that I approached the topic in my book. So I do feel like there's a lot of synergy between Andy's work and my work, which I really appreciate. So in any case, the table of contents goes the Fool, which is mindfulness, the Magician, which is becoming the hero of your own life, the High Priestess, which is intuition, rhythm, and time management, the Empress is making peace with food and eating, the Emperor is belief systems, the Hierophant is values, the Lovers is relationships, the Chariot is boundaries, Strength is self-compassion, the Hermit, emotional intelligence, the Wheel of Fortune, fate, destiny, and writing the story of your life, Justice is managing anxiety. The Hanged Man is the roots of negative beliefs and self-talk. Death is addressing chronic pain, processing loss, and grief. Temperance is stress reduction. I love that correlation. The Devil is on the nature of addiction and recovery. The Tower is overcoming irrational thinking. The Star is spirituality. The Moon is shadow work, disarming the inner critic. The Sun is reparenting your inner child. Judgment is gratitude and service to others. And the World is be a verb. Now, you can probably see just by the table of contents that Andy and I had, I think, very similar goals for these topics, right? We really wanted to empower people. I really feel that in just the way that this is put together. I think that it is worth talking a little bit about who Andy Matzner is. I think that's relevant. Andy Matzner is a licensed clinical social worker, psychotherapist, and tarot reader. He also teaches psychology, mental health skills, and gender studies as a part-time professor at Virginia Western Community College and Hollins University. Originally from Long Island, New York, Andy has spent extended amounts of time living in Hawaii, Japan, Thailand, and Australia. Most recently, he's been living in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains in Southwest Virginia. You can find him online at andymatzner.com. Andy is the author of several books, including This Is Me, Voices from Hawaii's Mahu and Transgender Communities, Male Bodies, Women's Souls, Personal Narratives of Thailand's Transgender Youth, the Tarot Activity Book, a collection of creative and therapeutic ideas for the cards. I can't remember if I had this one or not. I might actually have it. Everyone Has a Story, Using the Hero's Journey and Narrative Therapy to Reframe the Struggle of Mental Illness, and the book I was telling you about before, which is Journaling the Tarot, a little book of big questions. So he's got some good work out in the world. And again, if you're looking for something that you can dig into, almost like a course or a workbook to use as a jumping off point from your work on the self-worth path, I really think that this is going to be incredibly useful. So here's another set of pages I wanted to share. I'm going to move my camera slightly so you can see this better. So he, just like in my book, so in fact, I'm going to show this because I think this is really cool. So he and I both have hunger scales in our book, which I think is freaking great. So my hunger scale, I'll just show you, shows up in a digital handout that I provide on page 57. I think that's still the correct page number. This is my first edition, so they may have shifted slightly, but I have a printable journal where you can track your hunger and fullness signals. And this is the first thing I actually looked in Andy Matzner's book for, see if he was going to address the hunger scale, because this is a common way to address sort of intuitive approach, a really mindful approach to eating. And this also has some really fantastic journal prompts about the how of eating and about your current eating situation and beginning your meal and finishing your meal. It talks about the Clean Plate Club. There's just a bunch of great stuff in here. I don't feel like he's pushing any kind of diet or weight loss, which was really super fantastic. Again, not common when I see books like this to encounter that kind of really mindful approach or body positive approach to food as a topic. So I was really happy to see that. There's some great quotes throughout the book as well. What I really love is it's designed so that you can write in it. Now, I believe this is also a print-on-demand book, so just keep in mind that there can be changes from version to version, but I really just love that there's all this like wide open space to write in. This feels like a workbook. Again, it is pretty big, so it's going to be something that you're going to want to work with in a space that you can sit at a table or something like that. It doesn't feel entirely portable, but it does have so much great stuff in here. I just keep wanting to play with it. Here's a hero's journey chart. Yeah. So when I knew that I was getting to the point where I was getting ready to wrap up the Walking the Self-Worth Path video series, I actually reached out to Andy because he had offered to send me a book like this book for review quite some time ago, and I just wasn't in a space to be able to take it on because I had too many projects on the go with launching my own book. But this was the first book I thought of when I wanted to make a video with resources and jumping off points, like where you guys could go next. This was the very first thing I thought of. So I reached out to Andy and was like, hey, I'm doing this video and I would love to include Tarot for Transformation. And he was super sweet about it and sent me a copy so that I could share this with you guys. But again, I really think this is worth checking out. I will have a link to this book as well as the book Witchcraft Therapy, and of course always a link to my own book The Self-Worth Path in the description box down below. If you guys have other resources, books you've come across, other things you think might be great next steps for people who have finished the self-worth path and are now looking to take their work to the next level, please do drop that information in the comments down below, and let's just be good resources for each other, because it would be great if we could all continue this path and continue to support one another. As I mentioned in my last video, I have also recently launched channel membership here on, I almost said on Supportive Tarot because that's my old OG channel name, but I have launched channel membership, so you should see a join button underneath. And in the channel membership, I do have a tier called the Badass Unicorn tier, where we are doing monthly live streams on topics related to self-worth, as well as Peggy and I are doing a monthly video, just sort of chatting with each other about a specific topic related to self-worth that you guys are voting on. So that is a really cool thing we're able to do with channel membership now. Really excited to be able to offer that space as a continuous ongoing conversation around topics for self-worth. So if that interests you, definitely check that out as well. Please be warned that if you are on iPhone, I have been hearing people say that they don't see the join button. So there should also be a link in the description box that might also take you there. Or you may have to navigate to a computer to initially join. After that, you should be seeing community posts to members only and get email notifications if you have email notifications for YouTube turned on of all the new members only posts that are rolling out for all the various tiers. So anyways, I think that about covers my recommended resources on where you can go from here. Don't forget, if you are interested in winning a copy of The Self-Worth Path, to make sure you like this video, that you are subscribed, and leave a comment down below, as I mentioned earlier, for your entry in the giveaway. Definitely check that part of the video for the specific instructions, because it's already been a couple of hours and I forget what I said. But whatever I said earlier, that's how you enter. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you enjoyed this video or you found value in it, please click the like button. Please do subscribe if you're new here, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you're notified of all my future videos. Thank you all so much, and may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye guys!